Hey sis, each month inside Entrusted Women University, we feature a brand new interview. You can watch the full interview only in Entrusted Women University, but you can check out this snippet right now.
So when I did that and told stories about my life, what I hinted toward was that I was married. I was, I had a spread of children. And I was an ex-corporate person. I used to be institutional money management. And that I also had been a single parent. I just hinted to it, just hinted at different things in my life. And then I realized when you search the backside of your blog, you can see what people are searching to get to your site. And what people were searching was Crystal, single mom, Crystal Evans Hurst, divorced, Crystal Evans Hurst, widow, Crystal. They were obviously trying to figure out what was that part of the story. And so I was getting that question a lot in person when I would go speak. I know that you had a season of your life where you're a single mom, and I figure you can understand me. So She's Still There was, how did you make it through that season of single motherhood? Like what was that? What did you think? How did you rebound from unintentionally being a single mom, and how did you keep yourself afloat? So that was the answer.
Hey, Entrusted Women, I am so excited to have a good friend, Crystal Evans Hurst, with us today. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Hey, Kia, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having you. Thanks for coming, girl. And look, y'all, I wore my earrings that Crystal sent me. Do you recognize these, Crystal?
Yes, I do. Those are Sister Circle earrings.
Sister Circle earrings. And I never said thank you. So I want to say thank you. And then, y'all, if you've ever listened to her podcast, every now and then Crystal talks about this Black woman oil. And so to my surprise, when I opened this thank you gift, I see these earrings and I was like, oh snap, it's Black woman oil. Like I finally get some. So oh, thank you. So, girl, thank you. Thank you.
You're
for the
welcome.
Black woman oil. So if you guys have been under a rock and you don't know who Crystal is, I'm going to school you right quick, and then we're going to dive into all the things. Crystal Evans Hurst is an encourager who teaches people to love God, to love others, and to love themselves. Yes and amen, honey. Crystal is a wife, a mother of 5, and a grandmother of 2.
3.
3. I was like, did she have? Okay,
Girl, 3.
Need to update the bio. 3. She is also a speaker and a best-selling author of She's Still There and Kingdom Woman, of course, with her father, Tony Evans, Dr. Tony Evans. And then Show Up for Your Life and the newly released 28 Days of Prayer. And I know she's working on something right now, too. Maybe she'll tell us about that. You can find Crystal sharing regular encouragement via podcast and blogs and on Instagram and all the things, y'all. She's everywhere. YouTube. She's everywhere. I don't know wherever she is, where all the places that she is. But if you're interested, check her out at crystalevanshurst.com. Okay. And so now we're going to dive in.
Sounds good.
And I have a title today. We're going to be talking about building a brand that elevates other voices. But I feel like before you can even build a brand, you have to work on you. You got to work on you. And so you've written She's Still There. Can you talk a little bit about what were some of the things that had to take place in you before you could even get to the place of building a brand? And I want to preface that by saying a lot of people are like, in 2021, oh, I'm about to get my Instagram, together, and I'm gonna get my website together, and I'm gonna be all the things, and we're getting our photos and our headshots and our photo shoots and all these things. But there's some real work that needs to take place on the inside of us before we can go big and go public. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I want to agree and disagree with you at the same time. You said there's some work that we have to do in order to go public. The problem is you don't have to do the work to go public. However, if you want to be able to stand the test of time, and be able to have something to share, to say, to be about over the long haul, then absolutely, you do have to do the work. And so part of the issue is that you have a lot of people of all ages, but I think that there's definitely a thrust of Gen Zers who can go public, build a huge brand, and have nothing to say. And not that that's a bad thing. It just means you get to a certain point with a certain following, where in order to sustain that, there has to be something of substance. And so
Yeah.
I do think that living life, and trying to be intentional about how you live, as simple as that sounds, is a way to have something to say. Because if you are intentional in your private life, then you have something to offer. Not all of it to offer, but something to offer in your public life. And I think we too often discount the work that we do behind the scenes, not when the camera is on, how we are faithful with our friends, our family, our houses of faith, how we are intentional about growing in our relationship with God, and then fine tuning and sharpening the axe that He's given us, whatever He has done in terms of our gifting, our passions, our personality, that we are not actively seeking to better ourselves, reading, taking classes, going to school, officially being mentored.
Mhm.
Um, even if it's watching YouTube videos or taking a course, that if you do the work behind the scenes, you have something to offer in front of the camera. And so I think if you feel vacant on the inside and you're trying to come up with some stuff to say, then there's a reason for that. And to pause and say, maybe that's because there's nothing on the inside, nothing behind the camera. And the struggle with creating a content calendar, or with deciding to plan out your content in advance. Some of it could be creative block, yes. Some of it could be you need some new photos, yes. Some of it may be that you need to craft words better and grow in that gifting or that skill, yes. But some of it may be because there's nothing to say. And then you have to ask yourself, why is that? So the behind the scenes work, the off camera work, that's where you build up the breadth and the depth to have your branding actually mean something.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, ouch and amen, saints.
Mhm.
So that's just a little plug for She's Still There. If you're sensing that there is some work you need to do before you go public, and thank you, Crystal, for saying you don't have to do the work, but I think you should do the work. That's
I
just me.
think you should too.
That's my like, honey. But if you do sense that, I would recommend She's Still There. Any of the work, any of the book, the body of work that Crystal has done, I would recommend those. So Crystal, when you were doing the work, did you sense that there was a book on the inside of you? Did you sense that there was a ministry? Did you sense that?
So, um, yes and no. I'm a good fan of yes and no's. So, She's Still There was basically my answer to a question that was being asked of me. My dad asked me to partner with him in writing Kingdom Woman back in 2013. And so I just told stories. He did all the heavy hitting theological stuff. And I even told him I didn't want to write because Kingdom Woman sounds a lot like Superwoman. I wasn't anything close to that. And so I didn't want to mislead anybody or make them think that I, was propagating that I'm someone that I'm not. That said, I just told stories. And one of the things that I told him, one of the reasons why I told him I didn't want to do that is because I said, I'm busy. I was and still am a homeschooling mom. I had college and kindergarten happening at the same time. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to write anything. He said, well, let me look at your blog. I said, okay. I think we have enough there to use it. You just can fill in the blanks. I said, okay, that's fine. So when I did that and told stories about my life, what I hinted toward was that I was married. I was, I had a spread of children. And I was an ex-corporate person. I used to be institutional money management. And that I also had been a single parent. I just hinted to it, just hinted at different things in my life. And then I realized when you search the backside of your blog, you can see what people are searching to get to your site. And what people were searching was Crystal, single mom, Crystal Evans Hurst, divorced, Crystal Evans Hurst, widow, Crystal. They were obviously trying to figure out what was that part of the story. And so was getting that question a lot in person when I would go speak. I know that you had a season of your life where you're a single mom, and I figure you can understand me. So She's Still There was How did you make it through that season of single motherhood? Like what was that? What did you think? How did you rebound um from unintentionally being a single mom, and how did you keep yourself afloat? So that was the answer to that question. How did I hold myself together and move my life forward? So when you ask me, was there a book? I can tell you, yes. I remember saying that I wanted to write a book one day. I thought it would be when my kids were all grown and gone, so that way I would know which ones I could use as examples and which ones people should never know about. And I thought it would be when I was 60, when the kids were grown and gone. I thought I've always loved writing, but I didn't plan it. I didn't have chapters written. I wasn't working on it. It's a back thought. So Kingdom Woman, and She's Still There, came because I was walking in an opportunity that God provided, a door that He created for me in this season of my life, which is not what I was aiming for. So yes, I thought that I would, but I did not anticipate that yes would be given in the season of my life when it came. So what I always say is, when you know that you want to write, or you think you want to write, just write. The opportunity for Kingdom Woman came, and I had things that were written. They weren't organized, they weren't outlined, they had not been submitted in a proposal to a publisher, but I had put my brain on paper. That's something that my mother said often too. She would keep journals because she kept journals because she thought maybe one day she'd write. And a publisher approached her and she said, "Not in this season. Do you have anything written?" "Yeah, I have my journals." And they took that and gave her a writer, and then she got 2 books. So I think you have to know that there's something you want to say, and then you need to be committed to documenting what it is that you think you want to say without the pressure, the timeline, the proposal, or the publisher. You just need to be committed to collecting the data. Any good researcher knows that if they want to have something to say, write a paper, a white paper, give a speech, contribute to a book, develop the research so that they can have tenure in their university or a place of higher education, they collect data. Well, when you want to have something to say about your life, lessons learned, your expertise, your training, you collect the data. You can worry about how it's supposed to be produced or shared later. But to try to later go back and collect the data means that you missed the ripening, the harvest season of when there was actually the bearing of fruit in your life or in the information that you need to share.
Yeah, I'm so convicted. I'm so convicted. Oh my God, I feel like I need to fall prostrate because there was a season of my life where I used to journal. Well, that season was before husband and before kids. But
Oh, me too. Me too. And so let me take the pressure off. So one of the ways that I journal, I started using this journal at the beginning of the year, and then I fell off a little bit, but I've gotten back, and it is one of the best gifts. So I have a 5-year journal that basically on one page has one day with 5 spaces for every year. So the top line will say 2021, but there's 5 lines. Then the next one says 2022 for the same date, but 5 lines. So it takes the pressure off of you having to throw up, and it allows you to collect and to remember your day and your thoughts. And so that's an easy way just to remember where you were. The other easy way is your pictures. Now, I believe that social media is wonderful, and I think putting your social media up is awesome too. But as we all know, we don't want to have all of our stuff documented on someone else's property. So if you're going to take the time to take a picture, then make a note. Now, there are programs like Day One. It's a journal that would have everything resonant on your phone, or you can just simply do it like in a Word document, or even in Google, someplace where you're saying, "This is the photo I took. This is how I felt about it." So give yourself grace. It doesn't have to be that you write 3 pages in your journal every night. It could be that you are faithful to take pictures and then make notes about how you felt, what was happening. And later on, then you're basically creating a journal that's visual, but that's a little easier to keep up with than 3 pages every day, or the 5 lines just to make a note. So there are seasons when you have small kids, you're working and you've got kids, you're single, you're working your way up the ladder, you're in a season of caregiving, you're involved with other things. Okay, that's fine. Just be committed to paying attention. 3 pages of paying attention is good, but so is 5 lines and a picture with some words that will help you to remember what you've been learning and living.
That's why I love you, Crystal, because you make it reachable.
Because listen, I needed to come down about 1,000 feet for me.
Yes, me too. Me too. Okay, so the Entrusted Women is so unique because we have like writers, we have speakers, but then we have the business owners, we have the ministry
Mhm.
leaders, we have the high achievers, the women that are like, I'm about to climb Mount Everest, and I'm gonna take several women with me. I'm gonna, we have those women, and so I want to talk about not just writing a book, but building a brand, a ministry. And I'm gonna say, just for myself, I literally felt like I was carrying a bunch of women in my bosom, in my stomach. Not your bosom, it's your breast, but in my
That's yeah.
stomach.
You carry your love stuff in your bosom.
I ain't got that much there. Whatever, I gotta follow
Girl,
that.
whatever you got, work it.
I'm trying to put it someplace else. But I'm saying I felt like I was carrying this ministry, but I didn't think it was Entrusted Women. I don't know what I thought it was, but I
Mhm.
knew for a long time. I knew when I was jacked up, messed up. I'm not saying I'm not jacked up now, but I'm a little less jacked.
There you go. There you go.
Less jacked. I knew for such a long time, probably in high school, that there was this ministry. And I'm wondering if that's the same for you with the sister circle, or if you got an aha one day and was like, you know what, I'm going to create this.
Well, I definitely felt something, and I expressed it exactly the way you're expressing it. I actually was asked by Lisa Turkhurst to write for Proverbs 31, and
Which
I
you
don't
were
know,
the first black. I think you were the first black crystal face that I saw.
which is so funny because I mean, okay, so what happened is she was at a meeting at my church. So they were doing some working on a project, and they brought Lisa in and someone on her team to work on this project at our church and for my dad's ministry, actually. And so I walked into the church that day and I saw the marketing director for my dad's ministry in the conference room. So I walked in just to wave and say hi. And the marketing director said, "Hey, it's good to see you. Do you know Lisa Turkhurst?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I know Lisa Turkhurst." I said, "It's nice to meet you." And Lisa said, "It's so funny that I should meet you today. You wrote a blog post today that somebody shared with me." And I had written this blog post about what I would tell my black boys. This is Trayvon Martin, the week that he passed away. So she said, "I really, really loved your writing. Would you be interested in writing devotionals?" And I said, "Sure. Okay." I mean, like, when people are hemming and hawing, I mean, I don't know. So half the time I'm so out of the loop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, so when people are like trying to do it, I didn't, so many things in my life, the door has opened. So she gave me what their criteria was. And I said, well, let me pray about this because this is what you just said. I said, because there's something I'm supposed to do. And I just want to make sure that I don't come in and write for Proverbs 31 and do any of the other things that you're asking me to do. And then you feel that I was doing something underneath, scooping out or pulling from or stealing from. I just need to tell you up front, just like a woman who's pregnant would not know until the day the baby is born what it looks like exactly. Or until she is so far along in her pregnancy, she doesn't even know if it's a boy or a girl. She just knows there's something in there.
Mm.
So I just have to be honest and tell you there's something in there. So I'm just like a person who goes to work should tell the person that they're going to work for, before you hire me, I just want you to know I'm pregnant. So I don't want to surprise you 9 months from now. So I told her that. And at that time, I had no idea it was the sister circle. I didn't have a name. I could not speak out to you the structure, the form, the desire. I just knew I was supposed to put something together, supposed to build something. And so I came into that open door, grateful for it, but also very aware that there was something. And so then I didn't have to worry about that later. And I think one of the things that you have to do as a speaker, writer, leader, business owner, mentor, person in leadership at your church is you got to know what you know when you don't know exactly what it is.
True.
Like, you kind of know when your cycle's coming. You know what I mean? Stuff just isn't quite right. You
That's
know when your hair stands up on the back of your heads because you don't know what that kid is doing or what that man you're dating is doing, but you know something's not right. Okay, there is a sixth sense that we girls have. And yes, I believe that the power of the Holy Spirit is real. But if you don't even know Jesus, there is a sixth sense that we have built into us. It's like an antenna. And when you have the Lord in your life, when you have the Holy Spirit, that sixth sense gets 10x'd. So basically, here's what I'm telling you. You and I, as women, have an extraordinarily high sense of perceptivity and understanding, but we may not be able to articulate it. And you got to be okay with that. Because how you walk around when you know you're pregnant, even if you can't articulate boy, girl, facial features, you change what you do. You change what you eat. You change, you wear if you know, once you know you're pregnant, when you go get an x-ray, you go to the doctor, you tell them, yeah, I'm pregnant. They will not do an x-ray, or they'll put that shield over you if you're not sure if you're pregnant or not. So things start shifting even when you don't have all the information. And one of the benefits of you acknowledging that there's something in there, you don't know what, but that you start talking about how you're going to be a writer one day. You start talking about how you're supposed to lead a group of women. You start talking about how you believe God really wants to elevate. You don't even know where. You just know that he wants to move some things out of your life and bring some things into your life, and that you are open mentally, spiritually, soulfully, physically to what is coming. When you start talking about and acknowledging that there's something growing in you, you start shifting, and that shift is a matter of preparation. So, no, I did not know. Yes, I knew something. Yes, I believe that I should articulate, but I am one of the people that says I am learning how to create values and mission statements and core communication things. And I mean, but whether or not I took action, no, as God revealed to me, I shifted with the information that I have. And a lot of what I've done is throwing spaghetti at the wall. And then I stand back as some spaghetti falls away and I go, that's a picture. I didn't even know that I just know God says, do that right now. Do that right now. Talk to this person right now. Dream this right now. Speak this out loud right now. And I just stand back and go, let's see what spaghetti's going to stick.
What's going to fall.
And what's going to fall. And then once I start to get the picture, then I start orienting myself to move forward with more clarity. Some of us know from a very early age exactly what it is, or we have a business experience in corporate America that we translate into our own business or into a ministry space. And because we've done it in another structure, we know exactly how to structure it. Some of us got to be okay with not knowing nary a thing about what we're doing and doing the next thing that we see in front of us. And you know what? Knowing something still means you can do something and move forward.
I hope you enjoyed that interview snippet, and I want you to be sure and check out Entrusted Women University by visiting membership.entrustedwomen.com to see the interviews in their entirety. And join us next week for more content to help you on your writing and speaking journey.